my very first YouTube live broadcast. I have done broadcasts on other channels. I've done Periscope, Facebook, things like that. I have my own website, studioveena.com, but I'm very new to the YouTube live. So, hey! So what I'm going to talk about today is the yoga block. And what I'm going to be doing is demonstrating a few exercises that I'm using in a new routine that I will be posting to Studio Veena later today or tomorrow. And it's a lower body routine using your yoga block. So hopefully as you start watching these live broadcasts, you'll enjoy them and you'll see on Thursday will be the day that I typically do something more of a workshop or informational, things like that. I have not decided yet if I will actually do dancing or practicing on here. I'm not really sure what the people of YouTube are looking for as far as live broadcasts. So we're going to start with this one. And like I said, you can find the whole routine on studioveena.com. There will be a link. There's also a link on my main page here if you go to that. So check that out. If you're new and you haven't ever gone there before, it's totally free to sign up. You get 3 full days access to all of my lessons. And then after that, you can decide if you want to keep them and do a subscription, or if you just want to use the rest of the free stuff on the website. So everything's always free. The only thing you ever pay for is my lessons. So you'll find pole dance, chair dance, hammock, hula hoop, things like this, full-length routines, all of that good stuff. Individual lessons. So let's get started. I'm going to start first by saying you're only going to need a mat if you have hard floors, and then you don't have to have a mat, you could use a towel. And you also will want a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block and you do have a smaller weight medicine ball, you can totally use that too. You just won't be able to do one of the exercises because you need to sit on it. So we're going to start by going through squats. So you're going to do a basic squat, except for you're going to squeeze the block between your knees. Now you want to focus the entire time squeezing between those knees. You can hold the block 2 different ways, and I'm not going to do the full routine here, but I'm going to give you a quick breakdown. So I'm holding it the narrow way first, and I'm going to focus on squatting back, and I'm not going to let my knees come forward, but I'm going to sit back and then up, all while squeezing between the knees with that block. This is also helpful if you tend to be somebody who does your squats and your legs flare out. It can help you focus on keeping those knees together. You can also hold your yoga block between your knees, between your knees the long way. And then you're going to do the same thing. Sit back and up. Make sure you can keep your feet pointing forward. You don't need to rotate them out. Keep them pointed forward. Now to add an extra challenge to this, in the routine, we've got squats and then lift. Squat and then lift. So those are a nice variation on squats. It's really going to get you to focus on those adductors. Then we do toe raises. Now for this, you're going to turn out and only as far as comfortable. So you don't need to have a nice full turnout. You can definitely keep them just slightly open wherever it's comfortable, because you want the turnout coming from your hips, not your knees. And this will help with that as well, because you're going to be needing to squeeze the block between your knees. So you're not going to be able to do funky stuff with those knees. You're going to use the back of your knee to squeeze into the block. So you're opening up, and again, you can do this close or take it wide, whatever you prefer. I'm going to use it wide this time, and I'm rotating from the hips, not the knees. I'm pressing into the block with the back of the knees and lifting, lifting. You can do different things with your arms. You can practice, going through positions, and you can also hold it. And you're really focusing on pulling those legs together, keeping it tight. That'll help with your balance as well. Then we focus on abdominals. We're still going to use the block, and it's going to be between the knees. I suggest starting between the knees. You can also do this between the feet. I'll show you both. But if you tend to, I'm the kind of person who, I have very open hips, so I tend to let my legs flare out. That's natural and easy for me. So I like to hold the block between my knees because it makes me focus on keeping everything in alignment. So you're going to lay back. If you have the lessons and you're familiar with the exercise called the switch, it's the same exact idea as the switch. So you're keeping your back pulled down, so you're not arching your back up. Keep it down tight. You're flattening your abs in, so you're taking your belly button, pulling it in. You're not going to let it poke out when you lift up. You're keeping it flat. If your belly starts to pop up and it's not flat, you need to readjust and stop, because you want to keep proper form the entire time. So then you're squeezing between the knees. And again, you're not going to be placing your knees over your belly. Your knees are over your hips. This is really, you're going to feel it. If you're in the right area, you're going to start to feel it shake, and you're like, that's the right position. So from here, this might be hard enough, but if you need an extra challenge, tap the toes, bring it up. Tap the toes, bring it up. And I've been doing these for a long time, and they still make me shake deep down inside. So you can also hold it between the feet. Same thing, tap it and back up. Either way works fine. Then we're going to move on to hamstring curls. So you're taking your little block here, placing it right behind the thigh, and coming onto all fours, making sure you have good form. You're not going to round or arch or round. From this point, you're going to flex the foot and then lift. So you're squeezing, actively squeezing while you're flexing, keeping that foot like it's holding a platter, and squeezing. Those, I really love how they feel using this block, because it is challenging enough on its own just to do a little lift like this. But once you add that squeezing action in there, it's really killer for the back of the hamstrings. And if you're a pole dancer, you are going to need strong hamstrings to do things like side climbs, the star, what other terms do they use for that? There's so many terms for moves, but anything where you are hooking your leg around the pole, you're going to need to be squeezing. The Marley, things like that, this will help. Now, this I call hip rotations, because you're focusing on rotating from the hips. Squeeze between the knees again. Come back onto your elbows. Stay lifted, but keep your abdominals contracted. Don't sink into your shoulders. Lift the legs up and open. Close. Open, close. You might only get a tiny bit of open and close. It might be small. That's okay. It might be large. That's fine. Just do it with control, do it slow. Do it with me in the routine. So there you're working on your opening up from the hips. Really working deep inside here. So now we're going to do leg lifts facing down. You can choose to place the block between your knees or your feet, either one. I find it is a little easier between the knees. It's a little more challenging between the feet. Now the entire time you're doing this, we'll place it between my knees first. do it is come onto all fours, put it between, and come down from that point. So what you want to focus on is keeping the legs straight. You're not going to bend at the knee at all. Keep those legs perfectly tight and straight. Contract your whole entire leg, really focusing on nice length throughout the leg. And then you're squeezing in together to hold that brick in place. Lifting, lifting, pressing your pelvis into the floor. And again, if you're new to working out or to pole dance, whatever, you might get a tiny, barely even any lift. That's totally okay. Stay with that and work up from that point. So remember, you can also put it between your feet, but that's more challenging. And you also need to focus still on keeping your legs straight. These exercises will also help you improve your leg lines for when you are dancing, because you'll be used to working through your muscle memory, your nerves, all of it's going to remember that when I extend my legs, it's straight and pretty. So then we're going to do an attitude lift. You're going to sit on your block. If you have a larger bum and you need 2 blocks, go for it. So this is the only one where it's not going to work if you use a ball, a small ball, because it's going to be awfully hard to sit on a ball and not fall over. So you're on the block, both of your butt bones, your sit bones. You're in attitude position with your legs. So I'm going to do the opposite since I did the other one on a previous broadcast. So I'm here, and then this leg is going to come behind me as far as comfortably possible. You don't need to force it or try and get in the same position as me. This position itself might be plenty for you, and you might just want to sit through it and breathe, focusing on staying in this position. If this is not challenging enough, you're going to lean back slightly, not very much, but just put slight pressure on the same hand, so the leg that's bent. This hand comes behind you. You're sitting up tall. This hand comes in front of you. You can use these hands to press down into the ground to help stabilize yourself as you lift your leg. And you want to lift the foot off. You're not going to lift just the knee. That's an okay way to start if you can't lift your foot. But the ultimate goal for this is to lift the entire leg. So if you feel like you're almost there, you can almost lift, but not quite, you can do a little cheat and take your hand and lift it. Just give it a little, just a tiny bit of help might be all you need to get that leg up. And this one's, I love that one. It's excellent for your hips. Now we're going to do, the last one is a side lying lift, leg lift. Again, you can choose to place the block between your knees, or you can place it between your feet. The feet, it will be more challenging. Between the knees, it will be less challenging. And I feel like a pretty little mermaid whenever I do this, so ignore my little mermaid comments if I make them. I'm silly. So I'm going to put it between my feet. And I'm also going to make sure that I'm in alignment. So I don't want to have, let me turn this way. I don't want to have my legs like really far back and arching my back and lift. I want to keep them slightly forward, so I'm slightly coming into a small C position, holding my abdominals tight. If I'm up on my elbow, that's going to be more challenging for the obliques, so the side of your body. If you come down on, rest your head on your arm, you're going to feel it still in your obliques, but more you can focus on your legs, which is what we want. So you're lifting and squeezing, actively keeping straight legs. Don't bend the knees at all. Keep them straight. Use this hand to keep you from rolling all over the place. Keep them straight. All right, guys. Well, and then in the routine, you will find a nice little a quick stretch for the lower body at the end, or once you're finished, because it is lower body, if you've been working on flexibility training, you can go ahead and finish up with a flexibility routine in the lessons. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this broadcast. Like I said, I don't know if I will try doing live dancing or more workouts. I'm not quite sure what people are looking for. Go ahead, give me some feedback. Say, yes, I'd love like some more quick tips. Yeah, I'd love to see you dancing. Anything. I would love to see more of you guys, and I would love to try out this YouTube Live a little bit more. So go ahead, check out the website if you haven't. It's totally free to sign up. We don't spam you. We don't share your information. You don't have to worry about that. I've been doing this for 8 years now. I've been around a long time. So go ahead, if you're just slightly curious about this whole pole dance thing, check it out. Like I said, you get 3 days totally free to see all of my lessons, and then you can look around and see if it's a good fit for you. Just remember that if you do, everything is in a progressive order. So say you're a new pole dancer and you've just started and you go to the beginner section and you click on something towards the end, it's going to be more challenging than if you started at the beginning. So everything is listed in a progressive order in a way that I specifically planned it and wanted it. So there are programs too. For 30 days I take you through. You don't have to think or do anything. Check it out. And I hope to see you guys again soon.